Good morning. We're here in San Francisco and we've got Ryan Levinson joining us. Welcome to the channel, Ryan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's good having a chat formally for the first time. Briefly met Ryan in the Supercharger when Austin had their opening party last year. So Ryan's a former Tesla employee and he's been running a Turo fleet of Teslas and also a Rivian
Yes.
for many years right now. So today I've got the opportunity to actually rent this 2022 Model Y long range for FSD beta road trip over the next 10 days. For someone who's living in Singapore, I've not got a chance to see the incremental progress of FSD beta. It's quite a leap for me every few months coming back. My last trip here was in September. So today's video, we're just going to hear a little bit about Ryan's story, his journey as a Turo host, and what's coming up next for him as an entrepreneur. Click subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla. Ryan, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself for those who are meeting you for the first time?
Sure. Yeah. So, hi, I'm Ryan Levinson. My kind of quick spiel is I went to the University of Oregon. I wanted to work for Nike. You know, they've got two sides of their business: inspire and innovate. And as a teenager, I kind of fell in love with the idea of inspiring people through sport. And so I wanted to work for Nike. So I went up to school in Oregon. I'm originally from the Bay Area here. Went up to school in Oregon to inspire people to live better, healthier lives. That was kind of what I wanted to do. And while I was there, a couple things. One, just candidly, I didn't have enough money to pay for out-of-state college. My parents and grandparents had put some money away, but it wasn't enough. And I learned more about investing, my dad being a financial advisor. Tesla had recently IPO'd. So I ended up slowly moving money from what was invested in Exxon into Tesla. And basically, the long and short of it is I graduated with enough money to go back to school in Oregon because of Tesla's meteoric growth. But simultaneously, I was just developing my love for Tesla as a company, as a brand. And a friend of mine got an internship there. And I actually basically, through him, he referred me, and I ended up getting an internship there as well. And so half of my college, I was an employee at then as well, just flying down every couple months to capture content, then going back to the University of Oregon to edit that content. So it was really a special time where I was both enjoying what I felt was the best of the university experience and what became really the best of an early career experience. So worked there for 5.5 years, and slowly, while I was there, started sharing my car on Turo. Basically, I had an opportunity to buy one of the first Model 3s, and then a year later, I had VIN 297. So one of the first ones, I didn't want to validate. Again, I was so invested in Tesla, I wanted to validate the case that like this is supposed to be the car for the masses. So I bought one of the first ones to see if that was the case, and absolutely, it was phenomenal. And so a year later, I had the chance to get one of the dual motor ones with like an employee discount, which was rare at the time. No one got discounts, so I moved on that. I was going to sell the first one, and basically the head videographer at Tesla at the time told me, well, why don't, before you sell that first one, why don't you share it on Turo?
Yes.
It's like, well, okay, well, let me try that for a month. And that first month, I made more than my car payments. The second month, I made incrementally more than that. The third month, I bought another Model 3, and I started sharing all of them. And so basically, when it was time for me to change my career path, I'd been at Tesla for 5.5 years. I had already kind of gotten the shared economy bug. I was like, I think I can do more than just this. And so I bought more cars. And basically, I wanted to do more to get people excited about EVs. So I then had 4 Teslas, and I was making YouTube videos about those Teslas. And so basically, the kilowatts, as you all know it, is accessibility and information. And that's effectively what I do here with these cars. I now manage a fleet of, as you said, 13, and make YouTube videos, TikToks, share opinions on Twitter, whatever I can do to help get people excited about EVs.
That is amazing. Thank you for sharing, Ryan. As Bob Ross says, sometimes life is a series of fortunate accidents. And you probably never imagined yourself being a Turo host a few years ago.
Yeah, but nothing wrong with that. It's been a lot of fun. I say nothing wrong with that because there's more coming.
Yes, there's more coming. So as a host for a few years, you got a chance to be more directly involved in inspiring and educating others on the mission of EVs. So you were sharing before in an interview last year with Herbert Tong. You find a link down in the video description where he goes into more details about why he joined Tesla, why he left. But a big part of it is you wanted to play a bigger role in the narrative of actually transitioning the world's sustainable energy.
Absolutely.
So in your few years as a Turo host, what keeps you going beyond the financial benefits?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, there's still just a lot of people that have never experienced an EV before. There's still a lot of people who are hesitant, and yeah, to me, it's not even like hard. I think that's a big part of it. Is that like what keeps me going? If it was gas cars, I would have a lot more maintenance, a lot more wear and tear issues. But at the end of the day, it really is just like cleaning and moving cars. It really is pretty easy to have more of that, first experience. I'm always trying to think of different ways to like pivot my communication to make it just a little bit easier to get started. But ideally, these cars are so easy to learn and get started, and they're so intuitive that other than maybe like the door handles, once you're in, it's kind of set it and forget it. So for the most part, it's so easy that it doesn't feel like that much work.
Have you got any experience where people rented a Tesla from you and after that decided, okay, I'm buying one?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, every, I'd say, dozen or every 2 dozen, I get at least one person saying openly that they bought because of this. A lot of people messaged me beforehand saying, hey, I think I want a Tesla, but I want to try it first. I've already ordered a Tesla. I've even had some that they ordered a Tesla, they weren't going to get it for several months, so they rented a Tesla to get excited about it, and then their Tesla got pulled forward and they bought and didn't rent from me. And again, I'm kind of excited about all of it because it's supporting the mission. There's enough demand where often if they cancel with like a week's notice, I still get that car booked for that time. So it's no harm, no foul. And yeah, it's just been kind of, again, just facilitating these experiences where, 1 in every 10 or 12 people tell me that they rented, or sorry, that they purchased. How many others are not even telling me or buying, a few months down the road. These are people that are buying like that day or that week. There are people that are buying for months or years to come. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
The loot box is back, so Brian, you can share with me your referral code. I'll put it down in the video description.
So
they are credits.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I definitely want to get some of those credits. I'm trying to get one of the first Cybertrucks. I was back at Tesla back then. I'm trying to get one of the first Cybertrucks for the brand, the kilowatts, dispatch, which we'll get to. But yeah, if I hopefully win the lottery there, I can get one of those early Cybertrucks.
Well, do. Now, beyond just being a Tesla employee and the Turo host, Ryan's actually an entrepreneur himself. A big reason why you got the Rivian truck was to build hands-on experience before you got a Cybertruck to convince investors and people who want to fund you that I understand how trucks work, I understand the demand.
Yeah.
Before your fleet of 52 Cybertruck orders comes in one day.
Yeah.
How's that work?
Yeah, so as you said, I've got 52 Cybertruck orders. There's 2 different strategies here. One is testing the R1T, and so basically I want to prove out that not only is there demand for trucks in a city like San Francisco, but that the electric trucks work, and what else has to be considered, especially in the city. Again, there's a truck bed. Do homeless people throw things in the truck bed, or does it work? Does it work as a rental? Do people use it to tow? Do they damage it? What happens with a truck different from a small SUV or a sedan? So I've always kind of rotated through 1 or 2 more interesting, different cars. I think Model 3s and Ys generally do the best. When I think it's really like the best car sharing car there is, period, right now, is the Model 3 and Model Y. But yeah, taking it a step further from just trying something, collecting data on something different. Again, Cybertruck, I think, is going to be, a stainless steel, very hard to dent, very hard to scratch the paint. If something goes wrong, it's going to have to go really wrong to mess up that car. So I think that I'm leaning into, at least with the kilowatts, buying basically as many Cybertrucks as I can get my hands on, and I have to prove that out with a fleet of Teslas to see if there's demand for Teslas and charging and get those best practices. And then I have to prove it out with trucks, and you already heard that part. So ideally, basically, when Cybertruck starts coming, I'm going to sell off as many of these as I can, because I think just in terms of loss and novelty and all the other things that make Cybertruck great, it's going to be the perfect car to share.
That's right. It's probably going to have a much better daily rate. Now, I'll share one perspective as someone coming from Asia Pacific or used to small streets. We are in Hong Kong, Tokyo, or Singapore. Even driving the Model Y feels big for us. A lot of Americans will laugh at us to say this is such a small car here. So I do still see a big market even for 3 or Ys or even the compacts as well. And one thing that Ryan talked about is being a fleet host. So last year we got a chance to interview Elon Musk together with Tesla owners, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And one of the big ideas Ryan had was, what happens to fleet management? So you've got great widgets on your phone, you can see your entire fleet of cars.
Yeah.
And you should share the idea of Elon Musk. Is Tesla thinking about fleet management software? Because if FSD really is coming to fruition, isn't fleet management a very important enabler for success? But that seems to be neither here nor there yet. And you just announced this month still in May that you launched Dispatch EV, your new business. Tell us more.
Yeah, so Dispatch EV is basically the next evolution of the kilowatts as the way I see it. Right now, it's super early stage. We're here talking before I've even landed my co-founders, before I've even landed funding. I'm in talks mostly with co-founders, a little bit about funding, but basically, I launched a landing page with a form to just gauge interest, and the interest was surprisingly high. In 1 week, I had 100 signups, 700 vehicles represented. So I had very strong demand early on to kind of create something that competes with Turo. Turo right now, or at least up until this month, basically, was the only platform where you could really share a Tesla. And that, it's great that they can share a Tesla or anything else on their platform, but there's not enough specialization. And they did just Get Around is now accepting Model 3s and Ys again. But Get Around, people rent for such short periods that abuse is fairly common. So I'm looking at all the different parts of the market and saying there needs to be something to compete with Turo that specializes, that focuses on EVs. And early on it will focus on just Teslas, but long term I think there could be space for EV car sharing management. Everything from what charge state did the vehicle start with, what happens if you return it not full because it takes so long, relatively speaking, to fill it up, especially depending on where the host lives relative to a supercharger. So I just think there's a lot of making that experience more seamless that I'm already trying to do with my cars. Again, I want to make that communication as simple as possible, as simple to understand, as short as possible, while making the experience just as great as possible. So if it is your first time experiencing an EV, you feel like it's better, because it is. And then if you've owned an EV back home, your driver profile is shared. Everything just feels like you basically, the way I've been talking about it is if you drop your car off here at SFO and you go fly to Seattle, you should just feel like, wait, am I in the same parking garage? And with Teslas and with a number of others like the Rivian, you can do some cloud profiles. You can make the experience feel so seamless that it's going to feel like you're getting back in your own car. And I think we can facilitate that if we just start moving quickly on that.
Fully agree. Tesla team, work with Ryan or buy his company. Either way. Yeah.
We'll
I
see.
think that's an amazing opportunity as we head towards a world of autonomy. Some believe it may come this year, some believe it may come many years from now. Whatever we believe, it's a matter of when and not if. As Elon Musk said that physics is law, everything else is recommendation. This is an engineering problem. But you also graduated with a bachelor's in advertising.
Yes.
Recent talk, Elon Musk said, okay, we're open to advertising. What are your thoughts?
That's one I've never been asked before, and I have a lot of thoughts about it. So I worked at Tesla back when they had Facebook pages. They had two Facebook pages, a Tesla Facebook page and the Tesla Students Center. That was their internship recruiting information. That was the way they got information about their internships out there. And I got a call one day from the head of communications saying, Ryan, you've got 3 hours to take that page offline. Cambridge Analytica stuff had happened. Elon already didn't like Facebook that much, and he took it offline. And then he announced Pravda, where he was going to rate journalists. And then now, obviously, he's bought Twitter. So there's been this crazy evolution of Elon's perspective on journalism, on advertising, how they're the same, how they're different, PR. And it's really been interesting because, again, I am a storyteller by trade, and that's partly why I left Tesla, was because they didn't at the time do almost anything to tell their own story. They've pivoted a little bit to where they at least put their story out there in terms of the engineering. You can watch how they heat test. You can watch how they track prep their cars on their YouTube channel, and people can share that out on social media. So Elon's perspective on social media has definitely shifted. The situation with advertising is so interesting because Ross Gerber was kind of beating the drum for a while, and then Meet Kevin, who's actually a friend of Ross's, asked Elon at the shareholder meeting, and everyone seemed excited about that. And I think it has potential to be exciting, but I do think that while I studied advertising, I really think it is a matter of just putting your story out there, and if people care enough about it, they'll share it. So I don't know necessarily if I agree with the paying money to put your product or put images in front of people is necessarily what Tesla should do. And so I hope that they're very strategic, very thoughtful, and their advertising is just simply helping people realize things that they otherwise wouldn't, and then bring them into that funnel, which is already so large with, again, all that customer education, there's so many of us out there that can help people understand it from a arguably non-biased perspective. Obviously, we've got referral credits and everything like that, but that's so minimal, and that effectively has been their advertising. It's been so effective, and so I just hope that we don't see situations where they're just really paying to get eyeballs. I think they already get enough eyeballs, and there's a brand cachet to that. So again, telling the story of the products is the one I'm hoping that they continue to do. And if they do like lifestyle marketing and everything else, that's just something what we do already. And I think they benefit more from less expensive us doing it than them doing it and it feeling forced.
Agree. Great insights from Brian. My personal take on the biggest benefit of Tesla's advertising, it's not so much the traditional raise awareness or drive sales, but FUD reduction. If Tesla just spends like 1 million a year on CNBC, Wall Street Journal, there's an account director in the company saying, please don't put up too much FUD articles, I'm trying to win business from Elon Musk. That's to me the lowest hanging fruit, or just a little bit of advertising. You don't have to go Netflix levels advertising, just some versus zero. When it's zero, media companies have nothing to lose by FUDding Tesla. Brian, I've learned so much from you. I'm very inspired. It's just your entrepreneurial mindset, your evangelizing Tesla and EVs in general. There are a lot of great EVs. The Rivian is an amazing truck as well.
Absolutely.
What's one last tip you have for someone who's renting a Tesla from your fleet and it's their first time driving a Tesla?
Yeah, I think the big thing with Teslas is fortunately they are so intuitive that it is just a matter of like tapping around. Obviously, I recommend people change the driver profile so it's not mine or so it's not the host's. Like tap on the center and change the driver profile, and then pretty much change any settings you want. Some of them do have to be changed when you're in park. But yeah, mess around with it, get comfortable with it. Try FSD, wait till you're on or autopilot if you have it. Get centered in the lane when there's no one around you. Turn it on. Know how to turn it off. I just say let me tap on the brake to turn it off. Take back full control. But yeah, just kind of spend your first 20 or some odd miles almost messing around with it to see what makes you comfortable, what makes you uncomfortable. And then, for the rest of it, it's just like a normal car. Like they're so simple, relatively speaking, other than all those settings, you can just drive it and be comfortable. So range estimations, it's all right there on the screen. Mess around with the screen and have fun.
Looking forward to it. So again, we're going to spend 10 days with this Model Y and we'll share more stories on our channel. You'll find more on Brian and the kilowatts down in the video description. Over there, they're on social media. And of course, you'll find a link as well if you want to rent one of Brian's cars on his two-row fleet. Thank you so much for watching this. If you found this video useful, please click the like button and hit subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla.